What's up, YouTube? Long time no see. Hope everyone's doing good. As you can see, today I've decided to do an MMA series, a little Let's Play local to global playthrough on the Globalverse, which, if you're familiar with my channel, you'll know I've done this before, maybe like a year ago, but I ended up having lots of issues with my editing software. I kind of gave up, even though I completed the playthrough off screen, which was loads of fun. I had the itch to come back and play again, and I thought, why not also put it back on YouTube? And I'm kind of determined this time around to do the whole thing from rock hard, starting low level regional, and get all the way to high international. Last time around, we put quite a lot of penalties and handicaps on the playthrough, whereas this time it's going to be a lot more free and a lot more less restrictions, I guess you could say. We are starting the rock hard, as you can see. Glasgow Fight Club, based in Scotland, my home country, is where we're basing it out of. But we're going to be hiring anyone from anywhere in the world. So this doesn't really matter, like it doesn't matter where we are, because I'm going to be hiring everyone. I'm also starting with 5 weight classes, whereas if you're not familiar with Globalverse, the game starts in 1989 at the dawn of MMA, where everyone over time generates into the world with 0-0 records, and most of them, you know, it's the fighters you know from the default database, but they start off very young, very fresh, and only about 65 active fighters start when the game launches. So it's kind of bold of me to start with 5 weight classes, because it's going to take a while to like populate them and sort of flesh out my divisions and start to create storylines and have rivalries and stuff like that. But the plan is 5 weight classes. We're going to hire anyone we want, from no matter skill, no matter size, nothing. We're bringing in everyone because we need as much people as we can, especially at the start. And of course, we're the only promotion in the game right now. As for rules and settings, we've stuck it pretty much the same as the UFC layout. There is a few things that are legal, like stomps, you know, foot stomps, soccer kicks to the body is legal, but the main sort of layout and format of the rounds and minutes is all the same. And as for preferences, the only big changes I've made is training effectiveness is very fast, so people who join gyms and join training camps, they're going to improve way quicker, which I think it's not really that unrealistic. It's kind of a good benefit to the people who can get into the camps and into the gyms. And I've also turned recuperation off completely, so fighters will recover from fights way faster, especially if they win and don't get finished or knocked out or something. And it's just so that's really just so I can use them more and really pave their career for them. And yeah, like I said, just create storylines. That's the whole part of the game. It's all the fun. But I think short term, we're going to just book shows as quick as we can. As soon as anyone with any sort of name value pops in from the UK, we'll broadcast them on SportsTube to get some pop, because we're very blessed, I guess, very lucky, being in the UK or Europe, that you get Euro Sports Cable as a broadcaster pretty much straight away. After you do one show on SportsTube, the option opens up. So we'll keep with SportsTube to get our pop-up on probably the first 5 or 10 shows, while we kind of like pave out our divisions and just get some fights under our fighters' belts. But if our money starts to dip too low, all we need to do is book 1 or 2 shows on Euro Sports Cable to get our money back in the black, and we can go back on SportsTube. So finances is no issue. The main thing will just be trying to take pop, which might be hard for the first little while, but we'll try and book as many shows as we can in the first year. And we'll probably go with a similar format to the last playthrough, where we do like maybe 2 or 3 shows an episode, but obviously over time when we start doing more shows and we have minor shows, you know, reality TV shows, all that good stuff, the format will change. But for now, I'm going to just blast as many shows as I can into an episode, probably like 4 or 5. So if the video is pretty long, don't be discouraged, because after this little blabber I'm going on, it'll be edited pretty well, so we'll just go over the shows and nothing else. But I think I've pretty much about covered it. I have a bad habit of just blabbing on. So if you guys are still watching, I appreciate it. But for now, I'm going to jump off camera, start signing pretty much every single fighter I can, and I'll see you guys when we're about to jump in to our first ever card. Before we dive into the first show, I want to just give a quick shout out, because I didn't, for London. They are basically creator of the whole Global Verse mod. I'm pretty sure by now you know, but if you're watching this, the chances of you don't know about Global Verse is very slim. But if you don't and you want to know more, or you want to play it, then I'll leave a link to the mod page in the description below, and you guys can check it out there. But anyway, moving on, it's taken a little bit longer than I thought. I was basically advancing to the start of each month when new fighters gen, and I was waiting for a fighter with name value from the British Isles to generate into the game, and I didn't think it would take as long as it has, but there still hasn't been any across the 5 weight classes we're using, which is kind of a surprise, because there's been a lot from like Russia, Europe, Canada, America, but none from the UK, which is just my luck. So I've been forced, not really forced, but I booked this show knowing we are not going to take pop, and we're also not going to take pop on the show after this, which I've already pre-booked to. But hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe in the next month or two, 1 or 2 fighters generate that has some name value. And to be honest, just doing these shows, all these guys who win will start getting name value, so it'll be a little bit easier. But the first ever show, we got Jasper White, who actually does have name value, low level regional, but because he's fighting an unknown guy, the whole draw of the fight is coming up at unknown, so our commercial rating's not going to be high enough, I don't think, to take pop. Our booking sense, we don't really have a strategy right now. We're pretty much just trying to get all of our fighters as many fights as possible. There's going to be a lot of mismatches. There's going to be so many one-sided fights. There's going to be basically the first 10 or 20 shows, maybe not 20, but a lot of shows. We're not going to take ranking or records, nothing into consideration, so it's going to be a bit of a crazy shit show to start, but I suppose that's all part of the fun until it evens itself out. But we got 10 fights on this card, 10 fights on the next, so let's just go, let's get straight into it. Okay, first of 10 fights, this one will probably be very one-sided, both 20 years old, Leon Banks. Yeah, we're going to skip them, but yeah, it's Leon Banks, first round, knockout punch win, no real surprises, he'll win a lot. We probably won't see much of Russo, he'll probably can out, lose 4 or 5 fights in a row, and then we'll cut him. We won't really even give him any screen time, just don't look at him, guys, don't look at him. It's all on Leon Banks, he picks up the win, celebrates his debut. Well, next up we have our first ever lightweight bout, and it pretty much doesn't get any more one-sided than this. Sean Morrison will be one of our fighters who won't stick around for long. He'll go to the Olympics, as he usually does at the end of 1989, himself and James Foster, who I also have signed. They usually go off for a few years to the Olympics or the World Championships, I believe. But as for his debut, he gets a great rated TKO strike victory, but it wasn't going to finish any other way for Sean Morrison against Setio. Poor Setio got thrown to the wolves on this one. Alright, next up we got the Highlander Cliff, the hometown boy, the Scotsman himself. He is very old. We're probably only going to see him fight a few times before he retires, so we're kind of just feeding him. The guys I know can hold themselves and get a decent enough record, and George is one of those guys. He's got big knockout power, and he just proves it there. Under 2 minutes, knocks out Cliff. It was always going to be one-sided. We're kind of just, as you can already see a theme that we're pushing specific guys to win, as it really has to be this early on. But luckily, no surprises. Okay, next up, Battle of Japan in the lightweight division. If you guys don't know from my past series or whatever, my all-time favourite fighter in the whole game is Go Yamamoto. So I might be a little biased and a little nice while pushing him. He is very, very, very good. There's only a few guys who I've ever seen beat him, and he's had some absolute wild fights in my whole time of using him, and hopefully he doesn't start his GFC career badly, and he doesn't. It's a round 2 finish, great rated fight. I was holding my breath there for a minute, but he pulls through. We got 2 American wrestlers up next. This is probably the most evenly matched fight on the whole card, but I'm pretty sure that Iron Jaw Peter, the older competitor, will come out on top, and he does. 46 seconds in the last round, another great rated fight, so this is pretty nice for criticals. We're getting a lot of finishes, which will help boost the popularity on these guys a little bit. Not so much this early in the game, because we don't have a lot of commercial spotlights on us, but decent win for Peter. Hugely one-sided fight here. Mario is pretty much just getting gifted a win against sure. I guess we can call him gorgeous. Why not? Who am I to judge? But he probably isn't looking so gorgeous after this fight. Mario has probably slapped him around easy. Just worked on his ground, just took him down. Kimura finish, round 2, good rating. Debut win for Mario too. Tony the Spider McCall, favourite against Frank Analysis. The older competitor here being the favourite, but it's not too one-sided. We've seen it a lot worse so far. Both guys pretty decent stand-up. McCall does come out on top. Another great rated fight too. First round finish. Solid debut for Tony. And he celebrates. He feels great going forward, so nice. Battle of the Englishmen up next. We got the Sandman himself, Rob Baines. It's so crazy that he starts at 22. It's little things about this I love about the global verse. Like it's so exciting to know I get to use him like his whole career for like 10 plus years. Think about all the fights, all the battles he's going to get put into. Although I'm saying that like he's already won, but Shooter Smith isn't that bad of a wrestler in terms of the quality you start with in the game before all the big elite guys sort of debut. But Rob Baines comes out on top just before the first round ends. A Kimura, the second Kimura of the card as well. Good rating. Not bad, not bad. He's very visibly delighted to start his GFC career with a win. Alright, co-main event time. We got Walter May, the Scotsman himself. We had Cliff McFadden earlier in the card, who was also quote-unquote hometown boy, and he lost. So let's see if Walter May can make up and get a win for the home crowd. He is the favourite. Both kickboxers. Should be a decent enough fight. That's why I moved it up to co-main. Usually you get a pretty good rating from kickboxers when it's a stand-up fight. Not always, but usually I was treading my luck a little bit, but we only get a decent. But it's a first round finish for Walter, which I would have preferred. So I'm glad he got the win. And here we go, main event. Hopefully we get a pretty decent rating. It's 2 kickboxers again. So surely we can't get 2 boring kickboxing fights in a row. It's pretty evenly matched. Jasper Bubba White is the highest paid athlete in the world right now. He earns $900 per fight. He's low level regional in the UK. We tried to book him so he would win, because he sucks, let's be honest. He sucks so bad. And in the whole division, Ernie Burns was the guy he would be most likely to beat. But it's honestly still going to be a push, conditioning and stamina wise and stuff. Eddie Burns blows him out the water. So unless Jasper can knock him out early, he's probably going to lose. But he is only low level regional, so it's not that big a blow if he doesn't win. But if he does win, it's likely he'll be pushing towards mid level regional, which will then mean we won't lose pop on shows. So hopefully by like the 3rd or 4th show we book, we'll start taking pop. I'm not really sure how we'll do with money, but it goes to unanimous decision. And Jasper was never winning across 5 rounds. I'm actually surprised he lasted. He actually lasted. 21% conditioning. You know, his chin's not amazing. Strength, yes. It's honestly a win in itself that he even lasted 5 rounds, but he loses and we get a good rating, which could have been a lot worse. And Eddie Burns celebrates winning, not only on his MMA debut, but the first ever main event of Glasgow Fight Club. So we take 22% commercial, which is higher than I thought it would be, but it's still lower than low level regional, so we might lose pop. But I think when you start on rock hard difficulty, I believe it's 15%, so we might actually take pop. I'm thinking it's going to be unchanged, but 21,000 at the gate, which is actually really good. Honestly, we probably won't lose money. The card didn't go too bad. Got quite a lot of finishes too. Well, only one that wasn't, which is nice for us in the sense of good ratings. A lot of one-sided fights, that's going to become a custom though in the next few episodes. So we do lose, we do gain everywhere else though, which means if push comes to shove, we can book the subscription broadcaster in the UK to help save us money. I usually don't give out performance bonuses, but let's put it to 50. I'll need to manually set that. And we'll give, let's see, because I have a soft spot for Go Yamamoto, he can take Fight of the Night, which got a great rating. We'll give, I think there only was submission. Yeah, we'll give it to Rob Baines because Richard Smith's a much harder opponent to beat than Gorgeous Ralpus. And we'll give KO to, you know what, we'll give KO to George. Yeah, let's do it like that. They'll enjoy their huge boost of $50. Wow. Every single fighter that we hire, apart from Jasper, I think is on $120 per fight. So we're going to see very similar markings here. As you can see, pretty much everyone has the same. There's no numbers that are that much different. So yeah, Jasper takes the most money, even though he lost. We make 19,000, which is actually very good, especially with not too many shows booked in advance. But I'll take it. I'll take it. We did lose Pop, and we're going to lose Pop on the next show coming up as well. But I'm not really too worried just now. We're just trying to book as much shows as we can to get Pop on our fighters. Alright, nice, here we go. GFC 2. We did have 10 shows booked, but only 9 fights now because between the last card and this one, I've had 5 people fight out. Yep, you hear that right? From 10 different fights, 5 people have pulled out, and the last one to pull out, it was too late to replace, so I had to just totally scrap the whole fight. But 9's still fine. The good news is, I managed right after the last card to find someone who has name value in the UK. So starting from the next card, we should start taking Pop, hopefully going forward. And I'm planning to hopefully get about at least 5 shows booked before the end of the year. Because it's just, you know, the first year is always the hardest when you're just setting up, starting up. So we'll see how it goes, but let's get straight into this. The first fight on the card is, surprise, surprise, a very one-sided bout on paper. And rightly so, in this sense. Gorshin, the madman from Michigan, is a pretty solid freestyle wrestler. So it's no surprise that he comes in the heavy favourite and picks up the win. First round armbar submission. Good rated fight. I like Gorshin too. It's a shame he spawns in the game at 29 and not, you know, 21, 22. He's definitely not, when you're fleshed out your lightweight division, he's not sort of title contender, but he can hold his own against a lot of guys. I like him a lot. I've had some pretty nice fights with Gorshin, and I'm glad he's won on his debut too. 2 decent wrestlers up next. You know, they definitely arguably could be a lot worse, but Zacho is probably hands down one of the most boring fighters I've ever saw. So I'm kind of glad we're skipping, but it's, ooh, okay, yeah. I was going to say it's likely he'll get the win, but I read Yoshinibo first and thought he lost, but he didn't. But of course he didn't get a finish, unanimous decision. Nothing more or nothing less for Zacho. Average rated fight. This one was kind of just, I threw this one together with no, I'm glad Zacho won because he's younger and he is better than Tanaka, but yeah, there's probably going to be no difference this time around with this playthrough with Zacho. He's probably going to be very boring, as he always is. Just like the first fight on the card, we got another very one-sided wrestling match. Jeff Carlton, huge favourite, against the 18-year-old Rochev from Russia. And yep, good rated fight, rear naked choke, second round finish. I like Carlton too. You know, I hold the same sort of standard as him as I do with Gorshin, where he's good, but he's not really like in and around the top dogs. Although, having said that, fun fact, I have had Jeff Carlton and James Foster fight 3 times throughout my whole MMA sort of history, and Jeff Carlton's actually won twice, and he's the only guy I've ever had beat Foster, which is pretty funny. But he starts off a win here. We'll see if that fight comes to fruition, which it probably will at one point throughout our whole save here, and it'll be interesting to see if he can win against Foster. But he wins his debut, and he benefits from being a very good talker. Okay, up next we got 2 pretty decent guys stand up, both getting on a bit. They come into the game pretty old. It's probably the most evenly matched fight on the whole card. I hope Cahill wins, even though he's older, because in my eyes he's actually a little better than Ricardo. And I just know of Cahill much better than I do Ricardo, so I'm kind of being biased. But Ricardo gets the win. It's a unanimous decision victory. Decent rating, which isn't great, but good debut win for Ricardo. We'll see how Cahill bounces back. Edalberto, the Brazilian's the big favourite against the Japanese man, the Berserker. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name, because I'm already bad enough even with English names, never mind Japanese. But we'll see if the big man himself, Edalberto, can get the job done. He does. It is a finish, but only an average rated fight, round 2. Okay, not bad. The debut win nonetheless, and I was expecting Edalberto to win, and he gets it done. We got the Traveller Amaro up next. I like Fernando quite a bit, actually. I've had a few pretty exciting fights with him, and he's fairly well rounded too. He should make very short work of Greg here. Yeah, rear naked choke finish. Greg lasts to the 3rd round before getting finished with a good rated fight. Fernando, I'm sure we'll see a lot more of him, and he comes in at 24 years old, which could be a lot worse, so we'll have a good amount of time to use him. I'm sure he'll have a lot of fights here in GFC. Poor Monte Oliver. On his pro debut, we put him up against arguably the best wrestler and pound for pound fighter in the game, probably behind Matthew Dean. He's definitely up there in the top 5 in my eyes through my experience playing the game. It's the king of ground and pound, James Foster. Like I mentioned earlier, he shares the same fate as Sean Morrison, where pretty much every time I played Globalverse, they leave to go to the Olympics very early in the game, and probably in the first maybe 6 or 7 in-game years, they're only around for maybe 3 of them, 4. But I mean, yeah, we don't even need to try and put a prediction on who wins this. It's no question. James Foster picks up the win. His debut win too. We're going to be repeating that sentence a lot. That James Foster's picking up the win. Oh, okay. I actually remember this was one of the fights. There was a few. I have bad memory, so I don't remember all. But this was one of the fights where we had to replace. And I only remember this one because it was only a few days ago, and it was Stafford Al that was supposed to fight the Smasher Sarakov, and he pulled out. And I thought I would be down to 8 fights rather than 9. But Venter, I got a mail saying that he sort of lobbied for the fight, which I was so surprised because he's coming in, I think Saturday on 4 days' notice. He's took this fight, and it was really just for that reason I was so impressed. I bumped up to Comian, even though it won't hold any significant difference. But he also is the favourite coming in, 18 years old. This will be a good first impression if he can pick up the win, but he can't. He gets knocked out 28 seconds into round 2, the Smasher. On a fantastic fight too. Wow, our first fantastic fight. Okay, Smasher, I see you. Also, I really hope, looking at the guy's render, that he never ever skips leg day, because that would be a sight to see. But fantastic rated fight. Well, fair play. He is 37, so we're not really going to see much of him, so it would have made much more sense, sort of booking wise, for Venter to get the win. So I'm a bit disappointed, not going to lie, but I'm never ever disappointed with a fantastic rated fight, especially when it's up there, co-main event or main event. And speaking of main event, here we go. We got Mantis, who starts the game with his own fighting team as well, a permanent member. He's actually not bad, to be honest. There's a lot of, even being 32 and sort of declining. Well, I say declining, but because we have very quick progress when you join a team. He's actually getting better. But even though he is going on a bit, he is very good. He's a very decent light heavyweight, especially at the start of the game. But I do believe that Mark Cohen will be able to overcome him. He's pretty solid, a pretty good wrestler. Would be nice if he started a little earlier. 27, it would have been nicer if he was younger, but he loses. Wow, okay. The slight underdog Mantis picks up the unanimous decision win to win on his debut and hand Mark a loss in his first ever fight. Okay. I mean, Mark will bounce back. I'm not too worried, to be honest. But, yeah, I was surprised. I thought Mark would have took it. Okay. This is new. Okay. I don't know if I've done something wrong here, because on the first show, pretty much everyone was unknown. Oh, well, Jasper wasn't, I guess, but even low-level regional, I've never, ever had a 0% commercial fight. I mean, we were always going to lose Pop this card no matter what anyway, but I wasn't expecting it to be 0. But we take roughly about the same amount on the gate as we did the last show. But like I said, next card, which will be the last card of the episode, we have a new guy who has name value. Okay, yeah, wow, we lost Pop everywhere, even with Sports Tube. Okay, that's not great. This should be the only time this should happen though, so I'm not too worried. It's just, it is what it is. If we had to do it, and even though we're losing Pop here, all of the fighters who won will take Pop, so we're playing the long game right now. I just realised I cut off the recording and didn't even go over the post-event awards. Obviously though, no surprise, Sarakov the Smasher gets KO and Fight of the Night, so he'll be taking away $100 extra. Wow, he'll be, don't spend it all in one place, dude. And Amaro wins Submission of the Night. But let's move on. The quicker the better after that 0 commercial rated show. Oh my god, I cut the recording off again. I don't know what's going on with me, but I didn't even go over. Yeah, highest earners. No one really took away a lot. Everyone's pretty much unknown here. But 13,000 plus. So we're making money still, which is a positive from the rather thumbs down commercial rating. But now, I'll see you guys at the next show. GFC 3, we got Kai Collins, who was the guy I was talking about. He's not actually that good, but he's high level regional, which is way better starting name value, or just name value in general, that we have of anyone. It was kind of hard for me to book him, for him to win. That was the initial plan. It was very touch and go, and I didn't want to risk it against someone we didn't really want to push, so I've just thrown him in the deep end against Yamamoto. Like I said, I'm pretty biased towards Yamamoto, in the hopes pretty much Yamamoto will beat him. We also got George and Ernie, who both won their first fights. A lot of new guys too. It's just every show there's going to be a lot of new faces, and we should definitely take Pop to end this episode here with our third show. Alright, 2 kickboxers up first, pretty evenly matched. Rick Stanley, who I believe was booked in the last card, but he had to pull out. I think he broke his collarbone or something it was, I believe. So let's see how he does now that he's fit and ready to go against Rick Stanley. Oh, he wins. Okay, fantastic rating. Okay, that's how we like to start the show. A knockout kick, 3rd round finish. Daffordal. Very, very emphatic debut win. Okay, next up we got Mario, 33 years old is his competitor, 10 years difference. Kuroki making his debut, Mario trying to build up on his debut win he got. And he loses Kuroki. 41 seconds into round 3, good rated fight. Ends the party early, giving Mario his first loss of his career. Very, very early on in his career too. But the old man Kuroki comes out on top. Very one-sided fight here, shouldn't be much or any surprises. Harry Milne, pretty decent catch wrestler from the UK. He should be able to overcome Milton. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we don't really need to say much about this submission finish. No surprises. We expected Harry to win. He got the job done. Another fight evenly matched on the betting lines. 1-0 Peter Bracewell against the Perfectionist Dan Alvarson, who makes his debut. Let's see if Peter can get a win here. Unlike Mario, who lost earlier in the card after winning his debut, and he follows the same fate. A round 1 rear naked choke finish. Good rating. The 33-year-old Dan picks up a win and hands Peter his first loss. Okay, we're not really seeing many guys go 2-0. It's all a bit crazy, which is it's probably going to be that way for a while. But big win for Dan. Alright, the two stand-up sluggers up next. We got Grant and Mr. Saturday Night Phil, both I think are twins, to be honest. They look very, very similar, even the shape of their face and everything. But let's see who wins. I'm not really too bothered. This one was kind of just filling the void, this fight. Yeah, Phil gets the win. Great rating though. I'll take it. First round finish. Big win for Phil to win on his debut. Okay, third time of asking. We had Mario lose earlier in the card. Then we had Iron Joe, Bracewell lose, both being 1-0. Let's see if it's going to be 3 for 3 with Leon Banks against the debuting Elgar. Elgar's very good as well. So if Leon wins this, it's no short Cummins, to be honest. And, oh, nope, we're not doing the timer. Nope, it's 3 for 3. First round leg kick finish too. Only gets a decent rating, but wow, okay. First career loss for the young Leon Banks. Big debut win again. Lots of nice solid debuts today against pretty decent opponents, considering what some people are getting put up against on their debuts. Okay, big favourite Mac Fuller against knockout Nigel Malley. If we do not get a knockout finish, or if this goes the whole distance, I'll be very surprised. Both of these guys, from my knowledge and my experience, have pretty much never gone the whole distance in a fight. Let's see how it goes. Mac Fuller wins. Oh wow, it goes the whole way too. That's the biggest surprise. Not who won, to be honest. Only gets a good rating. Holy moly. Unanimous decision. But it's a debut win. Two pretty decent guys too. Very solid sort of mid-card fighters, I would say. Okay, the Battle of England versus Wales. Two more debuts. The Welsh warrior Travis, the older in underdog. We're kind of hoping Jim wins this one, to be honest. We've booked it that way. There's many fights we just throw together to give experience, give name value and stuff, so on and so forth, but not this one. We're hoping Jim wins his debut. He's not great in terms of we can't really push him very, very far. Oh, hold on, maybe not. Okay. He's better than I thought. I think I may be getting him mixed up. There's someone else in his division. Is it Gorshin? Maybe someone else who looks very similar to him. Basically, if they have no facial hair and a baldy, to me they all look the same, okay? Leave me alone, guys, leave me alone. But it's Jim that wins. Does go the whole distance though, but it doesn't matter. The W is the W. Huge favourite, good rating. Alright, the first ever fight where it's two guys who've won previously as well. Both 1-0. We're matching them up pretty early against each other. George Knock Him Out Lawrence against the Muscle Mountain. I have it on George, who of course is the huge favourite. It should be a finish here. Yeah, great rating too, nice. That's what we like, especially for the co-main and main event. So, no real surprises. George gets the win. The first fighter, I believe, to go 2-0 in the promotion, since everyone else on the card couldn't prevail. I also wonder when people will start giving call-outs. Maybe we need to wait a little bit. I did remember on the last playthrough we had loads, so many per division. There was so many call-outs. I guess time will tell. Good win though for George. Okay, main event time. I really hope Yamamoto wins, just because I tried so hard, guys, on the matchmaking to give Kai an opponent that he could beat. And even against the sort of sluggish, below par stand-up guys, it wasn't looking like he could. It was looking too much of a risk. But this would be a huge win for Yamamoto on the card that's got the most eyes. He is a huge favourite. I mean, I don't think he's going to lose. No, good rating too, which I'll take after the great co-main. It's a finish to armbar submission, which you don't see a lot from Yamamoto, to be honest. Usually he's knocking guys out with head kicks and stuff, or knees to the face. But this is good. And we should on a positive note, finished the first episode by finally taking pop, which isn't the worst. It's only took us 3 shows to finally start taking pop. So yeah, 46%. Holy moly, very good. And we also managed to sign 1 or 2 guys who start with pop too, but because we're doing more and more shows and our recuperation rate's not that bad, we're starting to be able to rebook the guys who fought in the first show and even the second show. 430,000 at the gate. We've probably doubled the gate profit and their attendance here. Critical rating of 75, which is also actually pretty good. So let's have a look. Yeah, we've not actually made back everything we lost from the last show. I believe it was 1.5%, but I'm not really too worried as long as we just keep taking pop in the UK for now, building that up, building up our name value. Then I'm happy with that. Let's quickly do the performances. Yeah, the fantastic fight from Stafford has to get KO and fight. We're not really giving it performances bonuses yet. We'll keep that for later. And we'll give submission of the night to... You know what? We'll give it to Yamamoto. Yes. Okay, yeah, we make 27k. Kai, of course. We actually made more money because Kai lost, which is actually a good positive. He takes away from his base pay a lot of money, but he is a high level regional, or he was, probably not anymore. But yeah, guys, decent start. We'll probably try and hammer through way more shows next episode, and I'll try and do much less talking because I blab on and forget. But yeah, I'm excited to get this going. It'll be exciting to look back in like 50 episodes time and just see how everyone's came, how far the promotions came, and the way we book the fights and how everything works. And when we start introducing belts and stuff, when we flesh out the guys' records a bit, it'll be fun following some of the big guys' storylines and how their careers turn out under a promotion. But until next time, you guys take it easy.